Oh.
Hello, 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 everyone. My name is Triple P, Tripple and I am your astrology pimp, your astrology prophet, and your astrology priest. And today's 7 Seas Astrology Prophetics video topic will be, where does our desires come from? So many of you guys may think that your desires originated with you. However, I'm here to say that 99.9% of our desires came from social conditioning. Social conditioning is somewhat what society uses to basically market a product, just like a company marketed its items as well. So, for example, let's say, and again, and I'm not here to pick a particular product off the shelf per se. Again, like I was saying, I'm not here to pick any particular products per se. However, companies know that individuals do not know who they are. So most companies use marketing as a tool to actually cause us to buy their products. And because we don't know who we are, we think that when we get the product, we're going to find ourselves by having the product. However, this again is a marketing strategy plan used by all. All individuals are misled when they don't know who they are. So they believe that the external thing, the thing that they desire, is going to bring them happiness. However, they are misled thinking that the desire originated with themselves. Again, however, it is all social conditioning. Let's use, for example, again, I'm not here to promote any particular any item or anything, but let's use Coca-Cola, for example. Coca-Cola has been around from 1492. I'm just making that date up. I don't know when they came around, but the moral of the story is they've been around for quite a long time. However, individuals would wonder why Coca-Cola still has advertisements. Why do individuals like McDonald's still advertise? Why do these individuals still advertise actually having such a big brand name? Why do they do it? Coca-Cola, McDonald's, any other company that you could think of, they still advertise because these individuals know that customers come and go. They know that some individuals would buy the product, they might like the product for a while, there may be a fad because again, we don't know who we are. We are constantly searching. One day we are on this diet, next day we are on that diet. One day we are trying to fast, one day we're trying to overconsume calories, one day we're trying to underconsume, and the list goes on because we are constantly trying to find ourselves in things. So again, companies such as McDonald's, such as McDonald's, Burger King, any company that you could think of, Kentucky, these individuals still market and advertise their items, just like Coca-Cola again would wonder why a company like Coca-Cola would pay millions or billions, God knows how much money they spend each year. I don't even know each year that they spend on marketing, again, because they know that we don't know who we are. So we tend to just follow fads and we tend to just join the bandwagon because if Coca-Cola was never known by any individuals, they would never be such a popular thing. However, they got the product. The product may have been great at some point. It still is great, I assume. However, they marketed and then they had the funding to put it in the masses, put it in the face of the masses, and then the masses got conditioned to seeing this thing, and then they tried it and then they said, "Oh wow, this thing takes okay, this thing, but however, they were conditioned to believe it was something great because of the marketing, because of the commercials, and then they saw other individuals drinking Coca-Cola, so they tend to just follow, just like cars, for example, where I'm at right now, hypothetically speaking, there's a lot of, there's always a trend. Back in the day, way back in the day, the Nissan Sunny, when the Nissan Sunny came out, that was the thing. That was way back in the day. I'm not saying, what I'm saying? Now, a more low to mid-level class car would be, a Honda Accord. I'm not saying it's a Lamborghini or Bugatti, but however, when the Honda Accord came on the scene, one or two individuals had it, and then it was a cool thing. And after one more, two or three more people got it, it became even cooler. And now everywhere you look on the streets, there's a million Honda Accords because they are socially conditioned to believe that if you get a Honda Accord, then you have the car of your dreams. And in fact, as far as I'm concerned, all the names that I'm calling out right now, Kentucky, Burger King, McDonald's, Honda Accord, whoever I call in this video, you guys should send me a check for promoting your company because I'm not I'm not promoting you guys' company at all, but I'm saying just because I'm calling you guys' name, I'm gonna give you guys a lot of recognition as well because if millions and millions of people see this video over time, your name is gonna ring out as well. But anyhow, so send me a check later down the line, somewhere down the line. But anyhow, uh, back to Coca-Cola. Why would Coca-Cola produce commercials after having already sold the world that their product is so great? Again, because they know that people don't know their identity and people follow trends and people follow each other, just like clothing. This particular fad is one day, this particular drink is the drink, all everybody's drinking this drink in the clubs, everybody is wearing this particular clothing, this clothing line. Everybody just follows and follows blindly. So individuals, companies knows that they know if they could get X amount of people to see their product, and especially if they could get a particular individual, a particular star, or somebody, a movie star, or somebody with a lot of influence to wear the item, they too will actually pay huge amount for these individuals to model or wear their things because they know once the masses see these individuals wearing these products, they would automatically assume that this is a product for me to wear as well. Because again, the individual does not know himself, he or she does not know him or herself. They tend to want to follow, the blind follow the blind. You know what I'm saying? So they tend to follow with the stars. They see the star wearing this particular brand name. So if the stars could wear it, it must be good enough for me as well. So again, that is the reason why companies would still spend millions of dollars to continuously market and advertise their product because they know people come and go every day. There might be individuals who drank soda when they was Coke soda when they was a lot younger. That was their drink, and after a period of time, they became a lot more health aware. They started to feel like, okay, now I noticed that this soda, this sub sodas, this sweet, this syrup or whatever the case may be, it's causing my teeth to go brown or whatever the case may be, or it's not too good. It's costing me health. I'm gonna get diabetes, and even diabetics, they can't really drink sweets, or at least they should not. I per se, they should really limit their sugar intake. So, however, as the individuals become a lot older, they would tend to to become a lot more health wise, and then they would just cut back down, and they would say, okay, we're going to cut back on the soda, we're not going to drink the soda anymore. So the companies like Coca-Cola, they know this. Burger King knows that individuals eat the Burger King food because the food is fast and it's quick and it's convenient. However, from a nutritious perspective, there might not be any real nutritious value to the food. However, individuals like things quick and fast, but they don't know any better, so they just go and they do it. However, they too know that some individuals, as soon as they know themselves and they come to know who they are, and they feel like, okay, maybe I need to take better care of myself. Maybe my weight is out of control now. Maybe my stomach is looking too big, or whatever the case may be. They tend to become a little bit more health conscious. They know that Burger King knows that over a period of time, some of these individuals are going to leave eventually, just like Coca-Cola knows that some of these individuals are going to leave their service, their product as well. So they have to constantly have to market and advertise so they could get new customers, new clients. The next generation is going to come in, and the next generation is going to fill the gap for the ones that left. So that is the reason why individuals use marketing and advertisement, despite the fact that they already have millions and millions of fan base. They do it because they know that once individuals come to know themselves, they will also leave those bad things behind. Some of those products, those excessive sweet sodas and so forth. That is why you see, for example, Coca-Cola and other companies who once had only sweet sodas at one point, they noticed that some individuals were getting hip to the sugar content, the intake, and so they decided to come up with diet products, diet soda, and so forth. And that doesn't mean that it's better, because diet also has, the things that they use to sweeten the soda with. may not be so beneficial as well. So again, but I'm not here to pick on any particular brand or anything to saying that anything is good or bad, because that's not what I'm here to talk about at all. I'm here to talk about going on to fads and getting on the things because we don't know who we are. And when we don't know who we are, we can be misled or we could be used, and we could take our energy, our resources, and our hard-earned money and our time and energy to accumulate these things, only because we believe again, once again, that once we have this thing, we're going to be happy because we're trying to keep up with the Joneses, thinking that, oh, if I get this white house, the house with the white house, big house with the white picket fence and the two kids, the three kids, I'm going to be content. Again, just because of social conditioning, society says that this is what is acceptable and anything less is not. So we tend to follow in society footsteps. And so that is what I'm saying today. Our desires were not naturally, they did not come from us per se. Our desires came from social conditioning. The only desire that really comes from us is to be happy and to avoid pain and to become free. That is the only natural desires everyone actually has, is to become free of pain and suffering and to be happy. However, because of lack of knowledge, information, if you guys go back and watch my video, the three poisons, that is going to go into some of this concept what I'm talking about today. Again, trying to find happiness in objects and thinking that the objects are going to bring happiness. However, because of this lack of knowledge and this lack of understanding, we believe that when we drink the soda we're going to feel better. We think that when we buy the particular brand name, we're going to look cool and we're going to look fly. Yes, we're going to look cool and we're going to look fly. It's no joke. It does make you feel better, wearing a certain thing, a certain quality of material. Yes, there is a difference, because I don't want anybody to say that I want you guys to be walking around wearing garbage bags. No, I am saying that there is value in certain things. It does help you build your self-esteem and your appearance and your confidence. However, that is again on a superficial level, because all of the videos I'm talking about here is promoting on a deeper level, at the core level of understanding who you are. But again, I am not here to say that these things does not add psychological value to you. If you're driving a particular car, yes, you may feel more confident. Yes, you may feel more important having a particular amount of money in the bank or having a particular house. Yes, these things do affect us psychologically. By no means that I'm stating that we should try to strive to be at the bottom of the barrel and we should not have anything. I'm saying that these things, again, does not equate to happiness. And because we do not know who we are, again, we are misled into desiring the things, thinking that once we have obtained this particular object, we think that we will find happiness and our happiness will be obtained. However, we are incorrect. So that is what I'm talking about the other day, understanding that where the desires come from. The desires come from society, because if society did not dictate to us what was right or wrong or what is acceptable or not, we would not actually, we would be quite content. Actually, if, let's say for example, if it was reversed, if everyone pretty much, if having the living a minimalist life, let's say for example, if it was reversed, living a minimalist life, having just the necessities of things that we need and we want, but was the most sought after lifestyle, and being rich and having the most material things was considered frowned upon and shunned upon, majority of the people would be minimalists. Most of the majority of people would just have the necessities, the things that they need and things that they want would not be so important. However, because society has a reverse on our psychological desires, they tell us that having more is always better. And again, because of not knowing who we are and so, not knowing who we are and what we are, again, you will see that this is the psychological play that the companies use to feed on our desire, and our ignorance is at the root cause of the desires, thinking that when we get this, this will bring happiness. However, it does not. Thinking that when we get that, this will bring happiness, but it does not. So again, all of the videos that I'm creating, you will see a continual theme about where the problem lies, and it all is going to stem from not knowing thyself. So again, the companies know that because you do not know who you are, they know that, they believe that if they put the item in the front of you, and they put it in the front of you more times than not, the more times you see it, and especially if it's a celebrity is promoting the item or something of that sort, then you automatically believe that, hey, if this individual is doing it, I should do it too. If this individual has it, I should get it too. If you look at the commercials, for example, any commercials that you see, credit card commercials, food commercials, or whatever the commercial may be, if they get a star to someone a star to take the role of that commercial, most individuals would remember the commercial more. That is why you see Super Bowl individuals pay millions of dollars for such a very short period of time. Why would a company pay all of this money at this particular time to just promote one particular thing for X amount of seconds? Why would you pay that amount of money? Because the individuals know the marketing campaign, the guys who do the campaign, they know that individuals, again, do not know who they are. So they know that if they get the item in the front of, at least say, hypothetically speaking, they know that if 20, I'm just making this up. I'm just going to make these numbers up. I'm not stating that this is a fact, but I'm just giving you guys an illustration. If a company spends $10 million on a commercial, on a Super Bowl commercial, it could be more, 10, 15 million, $20, $20 million. I'm not quite sure, but I know it's up there at least $10 million. I'm just assuming. But anyhow, let's say it's $10 million for 15 seconds commercial. The individuals, the company knows that if they spend $10 million on a $15 million on a 15-second commercial, but they have an item cost. Even if they have an item cost $10, I'm just making this up. Let's say they have an item cost $100. You know what I'm saying? They have item cost $100, and they spend $10 million. They spend $10 million to get that to get that to get that company that item, sorry, to get that item in the front of all of these individuals. They know that even if they get out of that $10 million that they spend, they know that if they get, and they have $100 item, anybody who's a real mathematician here would understand where I'm going. They know that if they get uh, that a million of those people or hundred thousands of those people to buy that $10 item or that $100 item, they know that they're gonna get that 10 million. Again, I'm not trying to be mathematically sound here or correct. You guys do the math, you know what I'm saying? But they know that if they get their $100 item or their $10 item seen by 300 million people who's watching the Super Bowl or whatever, how much people, I don't know how many people watches the Super Bowl, but there's a lot of people, millions of people. They spend $10 million to sell a $10 item or $100 item, and they know that they show that item to 300 million people. 300 million people are not going to buy it. However, let's say even let's say even $100 million, 100 million people buy see the commercial, and then 100 million people out that 100 million, that's still even 1 million buy the product. I'm just giving you understanding because it's a numbers game. 1 million buy that product for $10 million, for $10 or $100, whatever case may be, they make the $10 million back. I'm not saying, again, mathematically sound. I'm not thinking about the actual numbers here, but I'm just giving you guys an understanding about the numbers game. Just like, when I was, in the game and I was in the game, I knew that if I talked, hypothetically speaking, I knew that if I spoke to enough ladies, eventually I would get one or two of those numbers. Just like a company selling things, if some companies do marketing advertisement, they know that if they go to enough doors, they knock on enough doors, they would actually get a sale. They know that if they give out, they send out 10 or they send out 100 emails, or that 100 emails, 50 might actually only open email. Most people are not even going to open email when they see email comes from some company because they know they're trying to sell them something. 50 might open it, but out of that 50, this is out of sending 100 emails, or that 50 might open, and then maybe only 20 might actually read it. They might actually take the time to read it, and then maybe even 10 might just go down and look at it and say, okay, all right, this sounds like an interesting product. And out of that whole 100, maybe only 5 of those people might actually buy the product. You know what I'm saying? That's why they have automated items or automated email systems to just constantly send you the emails as reminders. But again, so it doesn't cost the company any energy or any time. But they put the thing in the front of you. If they put it in the front of you more times than not, they know that once they get the image stuck in your head and they get you conditioned to believe that the item is important or valuable, it is most likely that you will buy the product. So that is what I'm saying again. Our desires are coming from social conditioning. We believe that once society says that it is acceptable, then we tend to just go along with it. For example, even you might have a girl. Let's say you're a guy and a girl might like you, and then you might think that your SMV, I'm just saying, your sexual market value, you might feel that your SMV you could do better. Let's say you think that your second SM, I'm just saying hypothetically speaking now. This is all hypothetically speaking, but let's say your SMV, you consider yourself to be a 9 on the scale. I'm just saying this, making this up. And then a girl might like you, a girl might actually like you, but you think that, but in your mind, you think that this girl is only a 3 or 4. So you tend to, I'm not saying again you should lower your standards or anything, but I'm just saying how, because of your perception, you think that society would not accept this girl. You might feel like, oh, I look better than this girl or guy. Women tend to do it more than men because men, don't have the same standards as women, and men kind of have a different thing going on. But women tend to do it a lot. They tend to, oh, you're not qualified enough. Oh, you're not this or you're not that, and then they would reject you. And then however, but that man or that girl who you rejected because you feel like you are on a much such a higher standard or higher scale than that individual, you would reject that individual, but that individual might have been the individual who would actually love the dirt that you walk on and cherish you and actually do the things that is actually in benefit, would be beneficial to you. Unlike you trying to go and you get some individual you desire, this person that might look appealing or whatever the case may be, but that individual is going to cost you so much psychological, mental, and emotional problems because, again, not knowing who you are, thinking that the person that you want, desiring the person that you want only because society says that you should not be with this particular person. Society dictates, so you pick a person not on your true desires, your true wants, your true needs. You pick this individuals because you feel like, oh, my friends are gonna laugh if I have somebody and they might be slightly overweight or even more overweight, and they might have the greatest personality in the world, but you just because you believe this thing against you now, you see, you're not desiring what you really want or what you need. You're desiring what society says that you should have because society looks at the person who, again, the girl who may not be or the guy may not be up to par per se. And I'm not saying to settle for what you don't want. However, again, you are not, you know that this person is a good person. You know this person is a caring person. You know that this person has a heart. You know that this person is a really compassionate, kind, loving, supportive person to you. However, because society is dictating to you what you should have and what's not acceptable, you too will also reject another human being. And you would actually lose out by getting the girl that you want, but that girl that you want might not actually want you in the same way. Or the guy that you want might not want you in the same way, and you're going to constantly have to pay a particular price. So again, without knowing who you are, again, you will always pay a price. You will always be buying something. You will always be wanting something. You will always be needing something, and you will never be happy. And because again, society knows this. Society knows that if they continuously put something in the front of you, and they just know that if they have to put it in the front of you, they only have to put it in front of you so many times. They know that if they put it in front of you X amount of time, it is most likely that you're going to fold at some point. However, again, because of not knowing who you are not the things that you truly desire is happiness and freedom, but you think that you want these other things, and you think these other things are going to make you happy, so you desire the wrong things. And that is what I'm here to talk about. The only true thing that you should be desiring first and foremost is to know thyself. That's why the Bible again, Christos, Joshua, Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven was in you. You see what I'm saying? And so if you continue to look outwardly, seeking things, outwardly, desiring things, outwardly, thinking that these things would bring you some sort of satisfaction or some sort of contentment, you are incorrect. So again, having desires is not wrong, but you need to know where these desires are coming from, which brings me to another point. We have desires, but we need to understand whether the desires are personal desires or impersonal desires. And most individuals might not first understand what I'm talking about when I said personal or impersonal desires. However, personal desires are coming from the false self. I want this, I want that. I want this car, I want this house, I want this girl, I want this amount of money. These are all personal things. Impersonal desires is I want this for us. I want this for you. I want this for everyone. So when you have the impersonal desires, your impersonal desires are for everyone. This video that I'm creating is a impersonal desire. I am not just creating this video for myself. I'm creating this video for you or whoever is watching this video at the time. I'm creating this video for all. Yes, I may benefit from this video at some point, because again, your purpose also must be aligned with your personal desires. So yes, again, I may benefit from this video at some point in time. However, my desire is not, I am not I am not creating this video based solely on the desire to gain for myself. I am creating this video with an impersonal desire for those who are listening to achieve something and get something from these videos. So again, you have to understand, is the desire, first and foremost, ask yourself, is the desire coming from an impersonal place, or is it coming from a personal place? Is the desire that I am seeking, does it have something to do with building only me? Am I the only one is going to achieve something from this thing when it is obtained? That is a personal desire versus an impersonal desire. Is this thing going to benefit only me, or how is this thing going to benefit someone else? And that is what I'm talking about. When you want to know where your desire is coming from, you have to understand if the desire is coming from a personal place or an impersonal place. However, in most cases, 99.9% of the time, if you do not know who you are, the desires will always come from a personal place. You will always be seeking things because you are seeking things for yourself, thinking that if I get this, I will be better. If I get that, I will be happier. If I get this, I will be great. If I get this, I will have more. I. The desire is coming from my I perspective, is coming from, if the desire is coming from an I perspective, it is coming from a personal perspective. If the desire is coming from an impersonal perspective, it is more so of a we. How can I help us? How can I help you? How can I be better for us? How can I help them? That is what I'm talking about, understanding where does the desire come from. So the next time you desire anything, whatever it may be, and again, I am not saying that you should not have any personal desires, because we have personal desires and personal preferences. We have certain things we like and certain things we do not like. I'm not saying that you should not have any desires at all. However, I am saying that we need to understand desires itself and the nature of the things that we desire. Because if we do not understand the nature of ourselves and we do not understand the nature of desires, we are going to constantly desire things, and we're going to constantly be unhappy seeking things, thinking that the things that we desire is going to bring us happiness. But by now, I think we know that the only thing that brings us happiness is to know ourselves. And so that's what I'm saying is, where is the desire coming from? That is the title of the video. Where is the desire coming from? Is it coming from a personal perspective, or is it coming from an impersonal perspective? And so again, the only way the desire can come from an impersonal perspective. Again, the only way the desire can come from an impersonal perspective is to know thyself. Because until you know yourself, the desire will always be coming from a personal perspective. And again, nothing is wrong with having personal desires, but again, only when you know yourself, then you can have the desire for others. But most likely, when you do not know yourself, all of your desires is going to be about me, 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 me. First and foremost, me, me, me. And again, I am not saying to not put yourself first. I'm not saying to look out for yourself. I'm not saying to care and love for yourself. However, I'm just giving you guys an understanding about desires and where are they coming from. And because if our desires are coming from the wrong place, we're going to constantly be seeking things that is again going to make us, we're going to think that we're going to become happy from achieving these things, but we are not. So that is why I'm creating this video again, trying to give you guys an understanding of the root cause again of not knowing yourself. When you don't know yourself, your desires will also be coming from an incorrect place. And once you're not knowing yourself is incorrect, everything that you do from that point on is most likely going to be incorrect. So the foundation of your life is most likely going to be incorrect. It's going to be like you're building a house on a sand, and you expect the rain and the winds to come, and you still expect it to stand. It's not going to stand. And that's what I'm saying, because until you know yourself, that's only then you will have your house built on solid ground, on stone, on concrete, or on a solid rock. a bolder or boldest, if I may say. So until then, we will always have desires, seeking desires for things, and thinking that desires will make us happy, but they will not. So again, know thyself is the key. Know the root cause of thyself is the true self, the I-ness, the isness, the oneness. And once we come to that understanding, only then, when we start to seek and have desires, we can question ourselves and say, where is this desire coming from? Is this desire coming from an impersonal perspective, or is it coming from a personal perspective? And again, nothing wrong with having personal desires, because you are a person per se, however, on a fundamental level, you are all, you are everyone, you are everything. So that's what we're trying to get to the point to where we are not seeing ourselves as just one being, one personal being. We want to see ourselves eventually come to the place to see ourselves as being all. So again, when this happens, then our desires and our purposes will be aligned into getting things and achieving things for others as well, other than just only ourselves. So with that being said, I sum this video up. And again, as usual, I thank you guys. Thank you guys. Once again, please like, share, and subscribe. And as usual, Triple P, and I'm out.